So in this video we will explore whether the beginner setup can get anywhere near the performance of the pro setup. Well, hello, good morning and welcome to Camilla and I. And today we're doing a comparison between two extremes of system. A beginner wildlife setup, the A7II with a 200 to 600mm lens on, and the Sony A1 with the 600mm lens on. Oh. So today we're at Isworth Pond here in the New Forest, and I know it's an excellent location for perch birds, so that's why we're here today. And yeah, basically we're going to explore the difference between £20,000 worth of kit, the A1 and the 600mm, and a beginner kit probably around about the £3,000 mark. So £17,000 worth of difference. Is it worth £17,000? Well, watch on and we will explore in this video, and at the end of course we'll compare results and was it worth the extra £17,000? Oh, painful. So can we get anywhere near a £20,000 setup with £3,000 worth of beginner kit? That's what we're trying today, and we're photographing perch birds because it's a set subject and it doesn't involve rapid autofocus, or there's no real skill involved in taking the shot. It's a perch bird on a stick, just the way we like it, a nice pose shot. And what we'll aim to do in this video is see if we can get similar results with the A7II and the 200 to 600mm as the Sony A1 and 600mm. Ooh, what a challenge. Okay, also we're going to see what sets the two systems apart. Why do you pay £17,000 more for one system than the other? And yeah, it's partly to convince myself that all the money I've spent on this kit is worthwhile. So yeah, I'm making this video for myself really, but hopefully you will gain something from it, the difference between pro and beginner. Ooh. So I'm going to shoot photos with both cameras and in similar lighting conditions, and basically I'm going to explore the best elements of each system, and then hopefully we'll get some nice comparisons at the end to really highlight the difference. So if you don't want to watch all the preamble, just go to the end and see the results between the systems. We're going to explore the difference between f4 and f6.3. We're also going to explore the difference in quality, which of course is largely 25 megapixels, well 24 v 50 megapixels. And then we're going to explore why we get more opportunities to grab the shot with the Pro system. And if I do get distracted in this video, it's because there are a couple of goosander on the main lake here at Isworth Pond. Quick flip you around and you'll see why. Yeah, there's a couple of goosander plying down the middle of the lake there at the moment. So yeah, if I do break off from time to time, it'll be photographing those little beauties over there. Ooh. Ooh, it's difficult to concentrate around here. Amazing location. If you've never been before and you're in the New Forest area, Isworth Pond, well worth a visit. Just had some long-tailed tits in. Oh, beautiful. Ooh, long-tailed tits. Anyway, we'll start off today with the Sony A1 and the 600mm straight away, because it's one of the main advantages the Pro system has over the beginner kit. It's the ability to photograph in lower light levels and get lower ISO shots in particular. Although the software is very good these days, you still want to get everything as good in camera as you can. So yeah, we can shoot wide open f4 with the 600mm and we have 50 megapixels. Woo, a big advantage to start with. Some basic differences are on actually taking the picture. I mean, first of all, we have a dedicated back button focus button which we can set to back button focus, which we don't have on the A7II. So we're not comparing the rapid autofocus speed here on the Sony A1, but obviously it is a distinct advantage because we've already got a predetermined position, a bird on a stick, so we can't go wrong. So we can manually focus both systems if we require. I mean, the Sony A1, I don't bother to manually adjust it because the autofocus is so good, it just flits in and out of perfect focus. And indeed, we have eye autofocus on the Pro setup. So again, bird eye autofocus, a distinct advantage. But say we're not going to compare those sort of advantages with this setup. This setup is purely to see really the quality. Can we get similar results using cheaper equipment in this sort of scenario? And yeah, keep watching because there's a lot of discovering today. So the ergonomics of the Sony A1 are better, obviously, than the Sony A7II. You've got a better grip, better handle layout, and this does help. This does help actually get the shots because you've got bigger dials. It's not so fiddly, and you can instantly, manually, and the dexterity with a larger camera body just helps. So yeah, quite a consideration actually if you've got big hands. So yeah, don't get a girlfriend with big hands because it makes something look ridiculous. Oh, okay, I hope that's YouTube friendly. So handling, again, the Pro system blows the beginner system out of the water straight off, and also they tend to be water resistant, waterproof, tougher, more manganese alloy in their body construction. Although the A7II is pretty good, they're both full frame systems. And this takes us on to the other point, the full frame system. We have got a 24 megapixel full frame A7II against a 50 megapixel A1. So although this is a completely set up position and we can get a frame filling shot with both systems, so this won't come into play, but in the real world this sort of factor comes into play big time when you start cropping, and let's face it, we all crop. On the A7II we can only shoot at a maximum 5 frames per second, In fact, I leave it on 5 frames per second, but on the Sony A1 we can go from 1 frame a second to 30 frames per second. And in fact, today I've actually reduced it from the highest setting, H+, to just high, because only for 20 frames per second, because I don't want too many pictures on the card of the same thing on a stick. So I'm only giving it a very short little burst. But that short little burst is absolutely vital, because 20 frames per second gives me 4 times as many shots to choose over the A7II. So another reason to get a pro body. You know, it's amazing, those little wing beats. You take a series of 20-30 shots in a 1 second burst with the A1, and it's only 1 shot normally that you choose out of that burst. Amazing. Well, I probably missed out loads on the camera body, but as you can tell, the camera body is superb, and obviously does play a part in wildlife photography when you're not photographing birds on sticks. But we'll see at the end the results, whether we can get as good a shots with the A7II. Anyway, it's not all about the camera body, it's largely all about the lens as well. And yeah, 600mm f4 is quite an advantage, and yeah, quite a big advantage over the 200 to 600. Again, price wise, we're looking at under £1,500. I think it was under £1,400 recently for the 200 to 600mm. An excellent lens, really good. So Sony use this. Whew, unbelievable, very lucky there. 200 to 600 f6.3. But the difference between that lens and the 600 f4, well, it's about nearly 10 times the price, this lens. So that's the first big difference. But the difference is quality. Most of the shots, I must admit, I take with the 200 to 600 are at the 600mm end. I'd say 90-95% of the shots. So essentially I use the zoom as a 600mm when I'm scouting an area, etc. So although it's lighter weight, 2.2 kilos, and this is 3 kilos, you will find me lugging this around on the Camilla wagon every day. If I know the area, I will choose this lens over the 200 to 600 all the time. Partly, as discussed earlier, we've got f4 as opposed to f6.3, which is huge. Aperture makes a great difference to the diffusion you can get in the background, and also the depth of field. So yeah, you can get some beautiful bokeh with this lens, which you don't get with the 6.3. So yeah, shooting wide open. And again, the times we get up and the hours we're out at night, we need to let as much light into that big sensor as we can to maximize the quality of those shots. And again, that's why we pay the big bucks and get an extra 1.5 stops, 2 stops with the 600 f4. It just lets in so much more light, and as long as we can get it into the position, we get the shots. So I'll get shooting now as well with the A7II. As the light level improves, obviously it does help, as in any photography. The better the light level, it improves shots no end. It's all about light, folks, and it's getting that maximum light into the sensor. Well, we're shooting with the A7II now, and already I've just had to change the battery. Oh, another one. I've only got 1 battery left, so anyway, flip it around. Yeah, so we're now shooting with the A7II. So we're going to start on manual focus, 1/500th of a second. We're going to stay on auto ISO, because hopefully it's brightening up in a second. And we do sometimes move the camera, but we're going to concentrate on that stick, and we're going to manually focus on the stick. Ooh, awesome. Quick, flip you around. So yeah, turn the A7II on. Another thing, when you turn the A7II on, it takes a little bit longer to actually switch on. So yeah, manually focus in, and we're going to concentrate on that stick. Straight away we're onto a couple of shots, and yeah, so we've pre-focused on the stick, even though we have got the advantage of a gimbal head and tripod legs. So yeah, I haven't mentioned the in-body stabilisation, 5.5 stops stabilisation on the A7II, I think. Firing away, short bursts, 5 frames per second, and yeah, it takes time to write to the buffer on the A7II as well, so you have to wait, sometimes pause before you can reshoot. So yeah, the slowness, that's the main difference, I suppose. It's the speed of acquisition, it's the speed of shutter speed. Even on this, the fights that happen between the food are over in seconds. The actual action, the takeoff and landing, you see every wing beat. Amazing. Yeah, just incredible. Anyway, yeah, we've pre-focused obviously on the twig, so yeah, we literally just have to press the shutter button, and we're on 1,000th of a second, ISO 3200 at the moment. Yeah, wide open, f6.3. Yeah, as usual, it's the camera you've got on you that takes the shots, and I believe it's the marsh tip or willow tip around here. I'm pretty sure it's the marsh tip around here with the smaller bib, as opposed to a coal tip that is quite prevalent around here, so it's quite a good area for getting the marsh tip. So yeah, get her if you want the marsh tip on a stick. The camera you have on at the time. Now, for example, I don't think I've got any shots with the Sony A1 of the marsh tip which are any good, but I have got some, I believe, that are quite good with the A7II. So fingers crossed. There's also a big difference in the EVF. The live view is amazing on the Sony A1. Well, it's getting a bit cold here, so I better wrap up, I suppose. And yeah, so yeah, conclusions. I mean, the conclusions are: is it justified to spend an absolute fortune on camera equipment? Well, of course it is. It's Camilla and I, so we spend virtually any amount of money going for Camilla and I to get the shots. But can you get similar shots using a beginner setup? And of course the answer is yes, you can get very good shots with a beginner setup. Will you get as many shots? Will you get as good as shots? Well, you decide. You choose between the best of these, best of the bunch, and obviously it's the camera that you have with you ultimately that gets the shots. So yeah, I know which camera I'll be using, but we're very lucky on Camilla and I, and not everybody can afford the big bucks, and you don't really need them. I would recommend going for a full frame camera to start with, because it will cut out a lot of APS-C adventures, but it's what fun you have ultimately with your camera that counts. And if the camera is going to cost you 20 grand and you're going to be worried sick about A, paying for it, and B, enjoying it, it's not going to be much fun. So don't buy 20 kilogram, a 20k setup to start with. Get a beginner setup, and yeah, you can have just as much fun with a beginner outfit as you can with a pro outfit. But the pro outfit is obviously pro for a reason. The pro does get you more shots, and but does it get you the shot? I don't think I got a marsh tip with the Sony A1 this morning. I think I got the marsh tip only with the Sony A2. So yeah, it's the camera you have with you that counts. Remember that. Anyway, check out the the closing shot taken with the Sony A7II 200 to 600 and the Sony A1 with the 600mm. So yeah, you decide which camera's best for you. Obviously don't break the bank. Have a good one. Bye from Camilla and I.